Question number 33 here. It's Chill, K. Dot. Subscribe to his channel. T-Virus Terrence, Back of the Bus, Rogue Comics, Nico Bean, and the Jaded Fanboy. We're asking, how much more Wakandan is Toussaint over T'Challa?
None.
How much more?
None. The last question is 33. Was Wakanda Forever a success?
Yes.
It's been 3 weekends. The fourth weekend is happening right now. Go ahead, say that again, K. Dot.
It made more than its budget. That's all I can say about it. It's going to make less than the first movie.
It hasn't made it yet. It ain't made
There's
it
no
yet.
success.
Oh, come on. It's almost 700 million. How much?
There ain't no success. No.
Even if it makes its money, can you say making half of what your premiere to the franchise was a success in any way?
No.
Wait a minute. Why would a sequel, which is considered usually
half Jaded? I understand not being as good as the first, but half?
Yeah.
That's a disaster.
But there can only be one first time that you see Black Panther in a starring role. Okay, and that's what we had with this. We were introduced to Wakanda. We'd never seen it before.
We've introduced characters into the MCU before, and they didn't make 1.3 billion.
I agree.
And every character, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Thor, Captain America, Guardians, the second film always made more than the first movie. This one so far...
And I'm not even giving it that expectation because this one was so much higher than what it was expected to do. But even still, if they'd have made $800 million in this movie, I'd say, okay. If they'd have came right within a sniff of $1 billion, okay, fine. But making half of what the first movie did, there's no way you can look at that and say that you carried over the same audience from the first movie to this.
And look.
Hold on. That's two different things.
Look at the domestic gross compared of Wakanda Forever compared to Black Panther.
Yeah, but hold on. You're asking two different things. Is $700 million a successful amount of money?
No, if you're saying financially successful, without
on its own.
Okay, well, I don't know exactly the dollar amount that was spent to make this movie. So if they grossed $700 million so far,
that's good. Right,
they're probably taking home around 250 to 300 million of that. What is that? Does that get them over the bar? Did they spend $400 million trying to promote and sell making this movie?
Okay, I don't care if it's Wakanda Forever. It is a movie that made $700 million at the box office.
But what I'm saying is,
it was expensive.
And that's without
more
China.
Money than they spent. Did they bring home more money than they spent making, marketing, and selling the film? Is what I'm saying.
I don't know that for sure.
Numbers, it's too close to call. If they were at 800, 900 million, I'd say, they well crossed the bar. They well crossed it. They're good. They're in the green. They're right there on the edge of not being financial right now. So I can't call that a success when the first movie was the biggest movie in the entire film universe. It was the most successful film in the entire film universe.
Yeah, but hold on. Going by that logic, was the first Iron Man movie a success?
It was.
How? How do you?
Are you not listening right now?
Because if it wasn't, there would be no MCU.
It was expensive to make, and it didn't recoup the cost of making it and promoting it. Iron Man was cheaper to make, and they recouped. I think it was 400 million. I don't remember, but they made. I think it was 500, but they made more money than it took to make the movie.
We
Iron Man was successful.
Up in these gross numbers because that's what the trades and that's what the outlets, that's what they push on us is, big opening box office, $200 million, this, that, and the third, not realizing that oh shit, was that me?
Oh, that was my that's my text tone. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like,
hold on.
But that wasn't a drop.
No.
The first Iron Man movie made $585 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you take into consideration marketing, the cost of it. They made maybe $200 million profit off of that.
Well, but then I don't think they were spending anywhere near $200 million to make that movie either. They probably cost $100 million to make it.
Okay,
the budget was 140 million for
140.
Iron Man.
Okay, and I'm just
it was successful enough because everything was riding on that. in terms of building this cinematic universe. If Iron Man would have been a failure, we wouldn't be having this amazing stream right now.
Right.
Ooh.
Well, we would have had a different. No, we would have had a different amazing stream.
Talking about how trash.
Talking about DC.
I
wouldn't be Chillmonger. I'd be Jokermonger.
So yeah, to answer your question, Chill, I would say that if someone just kind of looks at the financial aspect, you could argue there's a type of success. However, when you compare it to the impact of the first film, whether it be the perception, the finances, everything across the board, right? Memes and just, the athletes around the world doing, Wakanda Forever and stuff like that, right? It's just the impact is less. It's almost like this particular installment of Black Panther only made its money because of the brand it's attached to, but the energy is not the same.
Yeah, because you can only have one cultural event. You can't.
No, miss me. No, you could have done a second one.
Avengers
it could have been
Avengers had 3 cultural events.
Right. Yeah.
Even one movie in 2 parts. It was one movie in 2 parts. That's not the same thing.
But Avengers wasn't like for the culture. Okay, Dots. I don't know what you're saying with that.
Okay, but we have had a lot of Avengers films.
All made more than the last, right? Now look, Avengers 5 might make more than Endgame. Maybe. I'm not saying it will. But if it makes at least like a cool $2 billion, they good. They good.
A cool $2 billion.
The talk about Wakanda Forever died a week after release.
Over $3 billion?
Then word of mouth started to get around, made a lot of money, but still underperformed where it should have easily cleared $1 billion. Because so far, it's at half of the prior movie. That is why me and Marcus agree that this is a poor
box office.
Yeah, but okay. I'm not saying that Wakanda Forever is a good movie. I'm just saying is that you're going, oh, well, hold on. If they had recast T'Challa,
I didn't say that. Nobody said that.
No.
Well, I do think that, though. I do think
you honestly think that if they had recasted T'Challa and then did a second movie, it would also make $1 billion?
Easy.
Without question. Really?
No.
Okay, no, but I'll say this though, like if you think about it,
because it's an established character, right? And I discussed this a minute ago. Wherever Marvel Studios led the general audiences, they would have followed.
Okay, but you guys
controversy over it.
But at the same time,
any decision
you guys had to recast T'Challa. You would have had the other side of the spectrum, which would have been boycott.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But at the same time, hold on. Name me any other MCU movie. Name me any other comic book movie where kids and people were bussed to the movie theater to go watch this movie.
Never.
Black Panther. Black Panther had people being bussed to go see this movie because it was all about a black representation. Nobody's bussing anybody to go see Wakanda Forever. Nobody's bussing anybody.
If some of the creative decisions within Wakanda Forever, because while I liked a lot of it, there's also a lot of stuff that I disagree with. I would have made a completely different film. But it's like the word of mouth for the second installment is nowhere near as good, and that hurts repeat viewings, which in turn you end up with less money, right? Which also in turn you end up with, okay, it don't look too bad financially, but it is a step down in a type of disappointments of sorts when you look at the expectation for what they thought this film would make.
I'm just saying $700 million doesn't seem to say that a movie making $700 million is not a success. It's
in a general film sense, you're right. That's a successful film.
Okay.
It's just all the extra context around this.
I agree with that.
That makes
right.
It,
it's a Marvel Studios film. When it comes to Marvel Studios, there are a lot of expectations. One of which is the financial aspect, especially if you're dealing with a sequel. That's important.
Yeah, it costs $250 for Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying.
Probably about another 125, 150 in marketing. There you go.
Aren't there like some tricks that they do to pay for that stuff? Like it doesn't necessarily.
So they actually, I don't know what they're doing to try to get to the finish line financially, but with the ticket sales. What I was being told is that usually with previews and early screeners and stuff like that, the theaters are supposed to get some sort of discounts on those tickets. Because I think that you usually
it's either the first week or the first 2 weeks of ticket sales. 50% goes to the theater.
So now Marvel has cut those discounts as of recently. So what you're seeing is everybody read the headlines after the first weekend of Wakanda Forever, $180 million opening, right? But that was with probably about half of the opening weekend numbers that they got for the first film. So they're getting these big numbers that catch eyeballs and try to help with the legs, try to help with the word of mouth, but it's not the same amount of people going to see the movies.
Movie studios want two things, either a very big opening weekend or legs. Yeah. That's what they want.
When he says legs, he means longevity and people returning to watch the movie again and again, like the movie that Perp Minded doesn't like, Top Gun Maverick. And they're about to re-release it as soon as Devotion is out, huh?
Yeah, that's a perfect example of the idea of having legs in the subsequent weeks after,
Top Gun Maverick. All right, Top Gun Maverick, I look at it like I look at Aquaman and Joker's box office. That shit was unexpected. It was heavily unexpected. Nobody expected a sequel.
Just like Black Panther.
The movie that came out in 1986.
30 years later.
Was going to do like that shocked me. I was like, wow.
But you know what?
Do you know why that did?
But
tell him, Mike.
Do you know why that did that? Okay, it wasn't just Tom Cruise. It wasn't Tom Cruise. It wasn't his middle tooth. It was because that this was part of the culture war thing that's going on now because it wasn't woke. Yeah. Allegedly, even though Tom Cruise is the biggest Gary Sue that I've ever seen in a movie ever, because he never fails at anything.
When he did fail in the first movie, though, remember his buddy got snapped.
Excuse me,
that was a
let Perp say what Perp was going to say.
I'm talking about Maverick. I'm not talking.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I still stand by that Top Gun Maverick is a mid movie. Shouts to Tom Cruise though for getting $1 billion, but like, bro, I just don't understand it. It's just like, because I was expecting Wakanda Forever just to easily clear $1 billion, but it's just like it's really underperforming. It's taking forever to get there though. Like it's like in its third week, it should already be at $1 billion within its like third week, bro. Like it has everything.
Is it Tom Cruise getting $1 billion or is it Xenu? I mean, I'm confused. Which one is it?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Okay,
because it all goes to Scientology, right?
My thing is like, if you look at Top Gun Maverick with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was expected to make $1 billion. Nobody expected Top Gun to do that. Now, I figured that it would be successful, but it making over $1 billion is different.
People definitely thought it was going to make $1 billion for sure.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Not the
it's I feel like expectations is important when it comes to these films, the studios, the brands, and all that. Especially again, if a movie is a sequel.
How does a movie make $1 billion without its main character?
Again, Marvel Studios is a trusted brand. With a lot of their projects, you're going to get an automatic audience, so it is guaranteed to make money. But it's a question of how much. How much depends on the creative choices you make and the word of mouth in relation to that project.
What church do you know when to go see Black Panther: Wakanda Forever?
Hold on, Nico Bean. You have to understand the general audience do not care about T'Challa. They care about Black Panther.
I think
anybody.
When I went to church in 2018, not only my church that I went to religiously, but my uncle's church, they were talking about Black Panther, and they both did not know. Well, they knew who the Black Panther character was, but they not only knew that, they looked at how Africa itself was being portrayed.
Right.
They were, and like you said, they weren't paying attention to the character, but once they went back into their minds of when they were children, and they saw the comic books that they read when T'Challa first came out in the 60s, said word of mouth, all the black churches were going to see Black Panther.
Right.
And yes, that speaks to what you said about word of mouth and whatnot. And people, but they did care about the character of T'Challa.
But Nico, why did you say the church that you used to go to? You don't go to the church no more?
Whatever.
You said said back in 2018 the church I used to go to.
Look how he conveniently froze. Look how he
he's not coming to my church anymore. What?
Dang, the church got him, man. They
again, Nico Bean, you're talking about a group of you're talking about a particular group. Unfortunately, a lot of the general audience is not black. A lot of the general audience are white.
That didn't matter the first time.
They do not care, and they don't care about T'Challa. They care about Black Panther. I swear to God, I will bet
another example. But you can't take away T'Challa from Black Panther because he became the global icon.
You know that.
The fans know that too, Jaded. Look at the box office.
Look. There's a difference between what Jaded is saying and what Nico is getting at, right? Mm-hmm. Jaded is saying that because they have the general MCU audience, they can guarantee themselves $500 million by sitting on a toilet. Right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But you cannot separate the T'Challa character from this franchise, at least after the first movie, and expect it to exceed or perform even close to the first movie, because your driving force for that first movie being successful is no longer involved. So yeah,
right. But that's why I said they were taking advantage of their fans, right? Because that's why I said earlier, because the brand is so popular, they can take advantage of their fans. They they can get away with anything.
For example, Thor: Love and Thunder. Do you think that they would have been able to make that movie without Chris Hemsworth and still make even the money that they made? Do you think they would be able to make that movie without Thor?
Hold on, Marcus. You have a huge group of the audience that hated how they changed the Thor character.
No, absolutely. I'm saying, could they make the movie without him? Could they have made Love and Thunder without Thor altogether?
Well, Marcus, I'll tell you this: they could have did it right, and I think it would have maybe.
But because they had James. I'm sorry, Terrence.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, they could have did it. It might have, let's say, take off $100 million from the total, maybe.
Right. But see, now we're adjusting things, right? You can't put up $1 billion budget, which is $400 million, right? 150 marketing, 250 on the film. You can't put that up and not make $1 billion consistently.
Okay, now hold on.
But even like I said, Jurassic World Dominion, a movie that's supposed to be about dinosaurs, was not even about dinosaurs, still made $1 billion.
But that's not a story. That's not a film franchise. It's built around a character.
Okay, now hold on.
Right? We're
talking about Thor: Love and Thunder. If in Thor: Love and Thunder they had Chris Hemsworth gone and they were going to have Jane Foster be the new Thor, yes, it would have been just as successful.
I disagree.
Because because they would have gone.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like in the middle. I feel like, again, it's going to make money because it's going to make money because it's the MCU. It's a question of how much. Again, depending on the choices.
Perp. I got 3 reasons why Jurassic whatever made $1 billion.
International shit.
Nope. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. That's it. They brought those 3 characters back.
But they were barely even in the movie like that.
I know that, but the promotion didn't know that. So, that's how I got suckered. Because there's no way you see that, and you hear the music, and it's like, I remember that good Jurassic Park movie they did back in 1993. Like,
yeah.
He only did
Max says churches, inner city schools. We all remember the one dancing on the
Wait, hold on, right there with that quote, with that chat there. Okay, so let's pretend in a perfect world Chadwick doesn't die. Do you think all of those they would still be doing that same thing with the second Black Panther movie?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll say this.
We got a better movie.
I'll say this, like, let's say Chadwick's still alive. Okay, T'Challa's the main focus point of the second film. I feel like I can almost guarantee you the movie would be at $1 billion, even if the story wasn't as good, because I think the energy would transfer over. And then maybe when they watch, like, oh, I like this. It's not as good as the first one, but man, I love T'Challa for what they did here and there. They might elevate certain things with him, even if other areas might have lacked. I feel like it's Terrence, the overall equation.
So what about this? So let's say that unfortunately Chadwick he dies, and he's replaced by Tyrese or Kevin Hart, and they're the new T'Challa. Do you
Or
think
Aldrich
churches and inner city schools will be bringing people to go see?
No.
See,
so you pick the worst choices, but that's what I'm saying. They would never pick nobody like Kevin Hart. Obviously, you'd have to pick somebody of caliber of like.
I mean, but to answer your question, Mike, though, I think, okay, if you say they picked a good actor to be T'Challa, the replacement, I think
Majors. No.
Right,
Name somebody that's a box office draw, because even Chadwick had a movie.
Nah, too old.
He was in Civil War.
I'm just saying, somebody.
He was in Civil War, and he was in Infinity War before his movie, right? Or no, he was in the end of Winter Soldier, and Civil War. So he
Mike,
had that.
But to simplify it, right? Like whoever would be the perfect, you guys could pick whoever you think. I think the curiosity alone, it would have made a lot of money. Just like, okay, so we got a new T'Challa. Okay, let's see how he can do in the role. Because you would have humans that would compare him to Chadwick. You have the ones that would give him a chance. But at least the T'Challa character is present, and they have intentions on continuing the legacy of the character.
Look what they did with Red Hulk. Look what they did with Red Hulk. William Hurt died.
No, but see,
they can knock it out of the park if they're going to recast it.
I was just going to say that they bring up. I mean, even Rhodey. Like, unfortunately, those are supporting characters. Even more with Ross. Ross is like, he's not even like Rhodey's in the movies more than Ross was. Ross is.
I said that to make a point about who they chose, though, right? Because you brought up the point about who could end up being replacing him and help push that momentum forward. If you get a big enough actor, someone who's above reproach, it doesn't matter. That's why they went and got Harrison Ford.
But
they wanted a big enough actor so that
name me 5 black male actors that have that big box office. Because even
Harrison Ford, I can't. I mean,
also the best way
I can give you 5 black actors that can do that for the T'Challa.
But the best way to win over naysayers is by producing a good product. So you were to put a great black actor to be T'Challa. You gave him a great story, and his performance was meaningful, compelling. I think they would have won over everyone. It'd have been like, hey, I was kind of against this, but look at this movie. Look at this performance.
This is what's happening in Hollywood these days. They do not like even with Chadwick. Chadwick again was a supporting character in Civil War. They eased him into. They didn't say, "Hey, here's Black Panther," the movie and all that. They eased him into there because I don't know. Maybe they didn't. He wasn't a proven commodity. Then again, neither was Hemsworth or Chris Evans, even though he was in those abysmal Fantastic Four movies and Varsity Blues. But
and the losers.
Chris Evans was in Varsity Blues.
Look, Mike. I'll admit that it's a risky situation, but if I were in charge, I'd be like, you know what? Because this character just turned into this global icon, he's just iconic and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I would feel pretty hurt, and I think others would feel pretty hurt to just get rid of him, especially just kill him off like that. Like I would have rather them like if we're gonna meet in the middle, I go okay. So you got humans that want him to die and they'll recast him. You got the ones that want him to continue. How about we do a storyline where he's just temporarily off the board, but you think
that's all I want.
Thank you.
I've always said that. I was like, the better option. I would have said, I was like, we're going to take this off the slate, like until we can just figure something out. Yeah. Give me like Kevin, give me all the time that I need. If you can't give me that, get somebody else to do it. I don't think we keep saying like, yo, like Ryan Coogler was his friend and stuff, but like I don't think he really fought for his friend because I would have fought for that. I'd be like, no, I want this to be done. Like if I want to get a new T'Challa and stuff like that, I want this to be done right. Like I would have took the time. I don't care how long it took. You know what I'm saying? I would take the risk of just delaying the movie indefinitely until I find out.
If you want to keep things within sort of a continuity, they set up all this stuff with multiversion, incursions, and stuff like that, right? Why not bring in another T'Challa, like a variant or something? You know what I mean? Like
because Terrence, unlike you, the studio heads at Disney consider T'Challa disposable. You don't. Okay, so it's like you can give all of the great examples you want, and you can give all of the great options you want.
Yeah.
But you were talking about a group of individuals that consider the character disposable.
Right, which is why I mentioned those things. I know what they would and wouldn't do. I'm just saying,
Whose
like,
fault
there
is
were
that,
ways
though?
around it that they chose to ignore. That's all I'm saying.
Right. They're gonna, yeah.
Now,
Bro,
Jaden,
Jaden,
some
I
of
got
the
a question for you,
examples
bro.
of why they should recast are some of the things that the studio itself was touting after the success of the first movie. They were saying about how great this is. There's a representative. It's positive. I'd say the same things. It just shows you that they didn't really understand what representation really is and what it means and the value of it. They were just saying it because it was the outcome of this Black Panther movie being a $1.3 billion hit, but they don't actually believe or try or and when I say they, Kevin Feige,
put their money where their mouth was. Sounds so
Their money was
there's a lack of
because they had
understanding.
T'Challa.
Because if you knew what T'Challa was, there is no way you would even consider pulling the character permanently. Because that's what it feels like is happening with the death.
Right, and liken it to something in reality. Like when I was in the theater watching that.
Terrence, Nico was saying something.
The question I had for you, Jada, was how was it an afterthought or T'Challa was disposable? There are literally about to, and I'm pretty sure if now that we have the child as the I don't want to say the real T'Challa,
because that was to placate the child was literally there to placate the recast T'Challa fan base. That's it. Because
I understand that. But what I'm saying,
we have a T'Challa, so you can't get mad at us.